Okay, so we are 1 month into this NBA season, and there's been a lot of surprises. Some surprises that were I wasn't expecting. I'm sure no one else was expecting either. And it's crazy that all that is happening with a lot of teams because a few months ago, back in September, I predicted the East and West standings, and some of these teams who I had very low in the seeding are actually doing really, really good right now. But you got to remember, it's still the beginning of the season, and there could be some downfall, and we'll just have to see what happens. But today I'm going to be talking about the biggest surprises in this month of the NBA season. So let's roll into the podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing...
Okay, so the first surprise that really caught my eye was the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets are doing really good right now. When I did the seeding back in September for the West, I don't think I had them making the play-in tournament at all. I had them probably the 12th or 13th seed. So I didn't really have that much confidence in that much of a young team to really do that great. I think they're the third or fourth seed currently right now, and they're doing really, really, really amazing. So if we're gonna let's break it down in numbers. So they went from the 20th defense in the league from a couple seasons prior to now being the 11th defensive rating now. And with Ime Udoka, after coaching year 2, they went from 20th to 11th in their offense, and they went from 20th to 11th in their defense. And they're also a near top rebounding team. Now, for a team that young, I didn't expect them to be that good, especially not even making the play-in tournament at all, actually. But they are actually doing really good as a young team, and they're getting their buckets, and they're actually doing really, really, really well right now. I don't know why I had that much doubt in them because they were such a young team, and I didn't think they would get through it or figure it out at all. But it turns out the Houston Rockets are doing really good, and they are looking out to be real contenders of the Western Conference. But they still have a lot of other teams that they got to beat, and it's going to be really, really, really crazy to see if they can beat those teams. Because as of today, they only beat 4 of those playoff teams. And with guys like Jabari Smith Jr. and Cam Whitmore, Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams, and I think Amen Thompson, Amen Thompson. There's still need for improvement, and they're going to get that improvement really, really, really quickly from Ime Udoka and pretty much their whole facility. So it's a big surprise to me that the Houston Rockets were actually doing this good, because I really didn't think they would do that good from this young team because of everything they had in the past. Because last year they were this close to making the play-in tournament, and I think they lost, and the Warriors claimed that spot, and then they lost in the playing game, in which they're actually, I believe, 0-2. They didn't win one playing game yet, the Golden State Warriors. But the fact they were this close to making the play-in tournament to now they're a top 5 seed now, that's actually insane. And that was a really, really, really big surprise for me to see the Houston Rockets go from 20th to all the way to 11th in their offense. And they have a good defensive squad as well with Steven Adams and Dylan Brooks. So I feel like they're definitely a big surprise right now. And we'll see how good they do throughout the season. I feel like they're going to be doing good this season. They're definitely going to make playoffs, but we got to remember it's still the beginning of the season, and a lot of teams are still going to improve, but they're going to have faster improvement. All right, let's go to the next team, and this was a team I actually doubted a lot and didn't think they would be good because they lost Klay Thompson. That was the Golden State Warriors, because Golden State, they lost Klay Thompson and Chris Paul, but it's not like they were really essential to that team because Klay Thompson wasn't shooting the way he was, and Chris Paul, he got waived because he wasn't doing that great as they expected him to. But a lot of this, the reason they're doing good has to do with their coaching, because a lot of Warriors fans don't really like Steve Kerr like that because of his he's not really that good playing young talent anymore because he has that problem. He doesn't like playing young talent. That's why Jonathan Kuminga and Potts weren't able to do what they could do best. But this year he gave them more like the green light. And Steph Curry, he has been having a little bit of trouble making his shots, but he's still averaging like 20-something points a game, which is insane. And you got Pods, he's doing really good. Kuminga, he's manning. So I think all that had to do, like from their previous struggles, definitely had to do with their coaching because of Steve Kerr's failure to play young talent like Jonathan Kuminga. I think that was the reason why they kind of fell off these last couple of years. But now that he's actually playing those the young talent now, the Warriors are top in the Western Conference now. And I didn't think they would be that good at all, honestly. Coming from, they didn't have Clay anymore, but Clay and Chris Paul weren't going to be essential to them anyway because they weren't performing like they were supposed to perform last year. So I think with the new regime and also their defense, they have like a top 5 defense in the league right now, and coming from a team like that is actually crazy. And I don't think anybody else expected them to be that good at all because they lost their stars, so nobody really had faith in them. But Paz is having a good year. Kuminga's having a good year. Draymond and Steph, they're having good times. So I think it's great that they're also they're having a great year. And also, not just that, but Steve Kerr did a really good job with Buddy Hield. Now he's a good 3-point shooter, and he kind of adjusted to like their offense, and that's another reason why they're doing good because of the Buddy Hield trade. So it's good that Buddy Hield was actually able to adjust to his offense and adjust to the Golden State Warriors setting, so he could become a great player. And it was good that Steve Kerr did that for him. And now you got like 2 or 3 good shooters and Steph Curry and Buddy Hield, and that's going to improve your offense. And that was a real big surprise from I think everybody because there were a lot of like habits this summer saying the Golden State Warriors aren't going to be that good because they lost Klay Thompson and Steph Curry's all by himself with Draymond, and Draymond was always just going to get in trouble, and then he's just going to get ejected left and right. But as of now, that's not the case because the Golden State Warriors, they're top in the Western Conference, and nobody expected that at all. Nobody expected that at all, and nobody expected them to do great at all. And they're looking like real contenders to win a championship. But we're going to have to see. They're going to have a steep drop-off in the middle of the season with injuries. But we'll definitely see. Because Steph Curry, he's in his 16th or 17th year. He could start dealing with injuries, and that could make him fall down a little bit. But I don't think it's going to matter. Because if he's healthy for the playoffs, then he's going to perform in the playoffs, and then they can actually get back to the finals. But we'll definitely see how well as far as injuries goes, because you could have a lot of people get hurt, but who knows? So they're going to have to adjust to that offense if someone else goes out. The next team that really surprised me was the Cleveland Cavaliers. Back in September when I did the ratings, I think I had them number 5, honestly, like the 5th seed, because I didn't think with this new regime, because at the time Mobley and Garland weren't the duo we were expecting them to be a little bit. So I think everybody was doubting them, but seeing them this year, they're making every single shot the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have a 16-1 start. Unfortunately, they lost to the Celtics, but they still have a 16-1 start. And that was the best since the 73-9 Golden State Warriors. And also, they have 6 players averaging 10-plus points. And that's something you really need on your team. 6 players are averaging 10 and more points. The top 1 offense and the top 7 defense. And I think out of all the years of seeing Darius Garland, this is probably the year where he's been the most efficient at the start of the season, because he's averaging 20 and more points, And that was something we weren't really expecting because like I said, Mobley and him weren't really the duo we were expecting them to be back then. And there were trade rumors of him being traded to like the Pelicans, but that wasn't really the case. Now, Donovan Mitchell, he's playing more efficiently and he's having the best year of his life. And they're the best in the East right now. They're going to be a real impossible team to beat. But I would say for the Cavs to watch out for Boston because the Celtics is like they got a squad. So it's going to be really, really, really tough to beat them. But they almost did. But they could actually they have the opportunity to beat the Boston Celtics. Definitely. And with their offense is looking real great. Darius Garland, he's being more efficient. Donovan Mitchell, he's a star. He's being efficient at all times. Jarrett Allen's doing really good. And Mobley, he's doing amazing. So that was definitely a big surprise for everybody. I don't think anybody expected them to have like a 15 or 16-0 start. I don't think nobody was expecting that at all. But to come out here this year at the start of the season after 1 month and they only lost one game out of the whole month is a real crazy thing to think about. Another team that's been the most surprised is the New York Knicks. Now, after losing Dante DiVincenzo, Emmanuel Quickly 2 years ago, Hartenstein and Randall, the Knicks had a lot of trouble with their defense now because their defense wasn't as efficient as it was last year, and that was a huge problem. But to have another role player to replace Jalen Brunson is also a really good aspect to have, and that player is Cameron Payne. Because Cameron Payne, with being in the New York Knicks edition of the trade, and he's like a good sixth man behind Jalen Brunson basically. So Jalen Brunson, we knew what he did last year, averaging 40 and up. We know what he did. But it's good that to have him rest and have Cameron Payne take over because he's shooting over 35% this year already. And in that game against Chicago, they went on a 17-0 run with him in the game and Brunson on the bench. And that's a good thing to have happen. So now, since he's shooting the ball really well and he's doing his thing, it's good to have a role player to support Jalen Brunson because Jalen Brunson can't put the team on his back all the time. He needs other people with him. Now, even though with the Karl-Anthony Towns trades, it worked, definitely. But their defense so far got worse than it was last year because of the Karl-Anthony Towns trade. You're missing some rebounding in Hartenstein. You're missing a little bit of shooting in DiVincenzo and Quickly. But Cameron Payne was able to clean the shooting up after we lost those two. So to have Cameron Payne behind Jalen Brunson is a really good thing to have, definitely. And even though their defense is not as good, their defense is a little bit cooked a little bit. For the New York Knicks, it's great to have Cameron Payne behind Jalen Brunson in the court because he's a really good shooter, and the Knicks are going to need that because we can't rely on Jalen Brunson all the time. Because with Mitchell Robinson being out, that's also another reason why their defense isn't as great today. But once we get Mitch back, their defense should get back on top. But we'll see how that goes and see how it's like to have Cat play the 4 and Mitch at the 5. And also, I don't know who else will be. So probably I know Brunson is, Bridges, and maybe Anunoby. He might start, but we'll definitely see how that goes. But it's great to have a backup point guard for the New York Knicks. And that's another reason why they're doing so good. And that definitely surprised me. The addition with Cameron Payne. I just hiccuped on accident, my bad. But it's good to have a backup point guard for the New York Knicks. The next team is a very disappointing team that surprised me, and that's the Philadelphia 76ers. If you heard last episode, I went off on them because of all their injuries, and that's also why they're not doing that good. But I don't think anybody so far to expect the Sixers to be this bad for the first month of the season because Embiid didn't play, Paul George played, but but he got hurt. Maxi's hurt. So now the 76ers are a really, really bad shooting team in the NBA right now. And that really, 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 really hurts. And the big three, they didn't play a game together yet, and they're going to play sometime this week or sometime next week, and we'll see what happens. But as of we know, the Sixers are one of the worst teams right now. Not the worst in the NBA yet, because that goes to the Washington Wizards, who just passed them. But that's like, it really doesn't matter, because they're really still one of the bad teams that nobody was expecting to do this bad because of injuries. And B, he started the season saying, "Oh, I'm not playing back-to-backs and stuff." Then he gets ripped by Maxey, and everybody's upset with him because he's always injured. And then he makes a statement saying, "Oh, I don't know why everyone's mad at me because of everything I've done." I'm like, boy, what did you do to the Sixers other than get eliminated in the second round since 2018? Like, that don't make sense. Like, stay on the court and have a healthy playoff run. And stop choking in the playoffs, too. That's another factor, bro. You keep choking. It's like either choking related or injury related. That's not really how you want to run a team, especially if you're going to be captain of that team. But with the whole controversy with the Sixers, it's the reason why it was a big surprise this year, because nobody was expecting them to be this bad, because they already almost have the worst record in the NBA. They actually do, but like I said, the Wizards just passed them in that. So if they lose one more game, though, they're going to be the worst in the NBA right now. But nobody was expecting that because of the big three we envisioned would be this bad. So it was like the Giannis and Dame trade, and nobody was like expecting them to be that good. Well, no, actually, I rephrase that. People expected Dame and Giannis to do good, but with the trio of Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Maxey, I think everybody thought they were going to be way higher in the seeding, but unfortunately, with all the injuries, it's not looking like that now. So even if they do get the trio back, they're going to have a lot of work to do to get back in the play-in position. Not even that, to make the playoffs in general, because you guys, if they get their stars back, they unfortunately could only put them in the play-in spot and then probably get eliminated in the play-in tournament. But we'll see how that goes. And that was a real big surprise, I think, not just for me, but for everybody, because I had them like a top 3 seed back in September. But as of now, as of this month, it's not looking like that case at all. So the Sixers are going to have to get their act together. They got to shoot better because, like I said, they're one of the worst shooting teams in the league right now. And they definitely got to get their stars back, and they got to win more games if they want to get in that playing spot and playoffs in general. The final team that really surprised me was the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, they lost, I believe, 3 straight games. One of those games being against the Miami Heat, and the Heat didn't even have Jimmy Butler. And another team against the Portland Trailblazers, who didn't even have Anthony Simons. And that was a real bad loss, both of those games. Because that was games they should have won. Now, DiVincenzo, he's been doing okay, but he's not going to perform better than he did last year, because it looks like he's not really doing that great for the team. But unfortunately, he is playing good, but he's not going to perform as he did last year. And last year, he was really good, shooting really good. But now he's missing a couple of shots, but it's okay. Randall, he found his place. I don't think they should worry about those two. But I think Anthony Edwards definitely is kind of a real big problem also, because even though he's like a top 10 player today, their team definitely isn't really doing that good, because Anthony Edwards could do a lot, but a weakness he has definitely is his vision and his passing. That's really not his game like that at all, because he can't fluctuate like that if he doesn't make good passes. If he can't make good passes, that's going to be a problem. We know he could dunk the ball and do whatever he wants on the ISO, but he's not a good passer like that at all. Like all they gotta do is like double team him, and then he's gonna force up like a wild pass, and then it's gonna get intercepted. So that's definitely a weakness he has, not just for him but for the team in general. Because if he can't make good passes, then it's not gonna look good for the Timberwolves right now. Because they're already like, I believe like the seventh seed or like the ninth seed probably. I don't even remember, but they're really, really, really low right now, and they shouldn't be that low at all because of everything that's been going on, and them losing like 3 straight games to teams that didn't even have their star players at all. It's not looking real good for them at all. So they definitely got to clean it up, but they're still in playing odds so far. But we'll see what happens in the next few months and see if they'll get back. I know they're definitely missing probably a little bit of rebounding from Karl-Anthony Towns because he got traded, and also problems with Naz Reid as well. But we'll see what happens in the next few months. But I don't think anybody was like expecting them to be this bad. Well, I wouldn't say this bad. I would say probably like mid. I would say like mid probably. Because they're not that bad, but they're not that good either. And they should be at least a great team that should be a contender. Right now, they're not looking like a contender right now. They're looking like a real pretender type of team. But if they get their act together and they start working together, and Anthony Edwards could have better vision, then they're going to have a good season. But we'll see what happens now. But right now, it looks like they're like, I think like they're like 9-7, I believe. But that's all I gotta say for them. They just gotta work. I would just say work together better as a team because they have a lot of weaknesses and they gotta get past that, definitely. And that was a real big surprise to me because I really thought they would be a better team. But Ant-Man is not going away. It's just his passing and working together as a team is something he has to get down packed, definitely. But that's all for the NBA teams that really surprised me. And not just surprised me, but surprised everybody. And it's crazy. A lot of these teams, I wasn't even expecting them to be that good. Like Golden State, I wasn't expecting them to do that good. Minnesota, I didn't think they would be that worse. I didn't even think Philadelphia would be that worse, honestly. But a lot of that has to do with their injuries for Philly. But I don't think it's really... It's a real big surprise to me that a lot of these teams are coming into light after they weren't performing that good last year. And it's really good to see them improve and also like keep improving. But that's all I have today for the biggest surprises in the NBA after 1 month. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and make sure you guys leave it with a like. I cannot talk for the life of me. Oh my god. Make sure you guys leave it with a like. I cannot talk, like I said. Oh my god, I cannot talk, I swear. I ain't going to stop talking, I swear. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next episode. See ya.